Hi, I'm Karceno.
Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Karceno and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Y'all knew I was going to address this. I rarely discuss politics on this page here. Normally, I do this on One Crack News. But I felt that this was a big enough thing for me to speak on because this needs to be addressed by every Black man in the United States of America. Clearly. This was the most telling thing I've ever seen from a former president who was elected majoritarily by us to make this statement that he made to the general public. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you're new, subscribe to this page. Hit the notification bell so that you can get notified whenever we go live. Now, like I said, I normally don't talk politics on this page. So most of you might be surprised when you see this because you're probably thinking it's One Crack News where we do talk about politics and things of that nature. But with an election coming up in a few weeks, people who were confident are now starting to spiral a little bit. And out of panic and desperation, you see an unstopped, unsupervised pop-up by the former president Barack Obama at one of the Democratic support groups, right? Support stops to go out and get Black voters to go out and vote. Well, let's listen to what he had to say when he arrived. It's very telling.
As my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences, who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act so everybody's got health care, and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting out? But, you know, Cousin Pookie might be. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not acceptable. That's not, this shouldn't even be a question.
Now, you heard what he said, and I feel like it's time for me to address this. Being a black man, myself, a black man, born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, the city where you ran, right? Got into Congress, got to president of the United States of America from this city on the backbone of the black people, black men. You had over 90% votes from black men when you ran. You had over 90% of all black votes when you ran. Former President-elect Barack Obama, how dare you? I'm gonna keep this PG because I don't want the whole thing to go into something else. I'm gonna keep this real PG, but you have some nerve to say those remarks that you just said about black people, black men especially. How can you call out a group and marginalize black men when black women and black men normally vote the same? The numbers show that whatever black men are voting for, black women normally vote for it. Okay, we're the second largest group voting for the Democrats. Black women are one, black men is right below it. The numbers are almost identical. Now, when Biden ran for president, he got 90% of the black vote. 90%. That's a very high number. That when that election went down, 90% of the black vote went towards Biden. So Biden isn't black. The black men voted for Joe the first election 4 years ago, which turned out to be the deciding factor in the election. We're the sleeping giant that in 1996, Larry Hoover was trying to get people to understand, and going to the polls mattered because we are the sleeping giant that could tilt elections. That's why this panic cry. But to single out black men was condescending and definitely irresponsible from you. Why aren't you talking to any other group? They vote too. You should be trying to politic towards white men, white women. Get those numbers up. You know why? Because white women voted against Trump in a very high number. Why aren't you speaking to them now? Why aren't you saying they're not doing what they're supposed to do? Why come, or how come black men, in your opinion, cannot make a decision based on the topics or the factors and the conditions that are concerning to them? It has to be marginalized to they don't want a woman to be in the White House. Why would you marginalize black men with that stereotype? There's more white men that don't want a woman in the White House than it is for black men to say something like that. It's insulting. With no facts to back up your thought or belief, why would your mind go that, oh, we just don't want a woman to be in the White House? A woman has already been in the White House as vice president. So what difference does it make if she's the president? Do you see black people out here crying because she's a woman in the White House? No, you hear that most from white men, not black men. And no, we're not going to vote for Kamala Harris because she went to a HBCU, because she high-fived, because she pledged in this fraternity that my cousin pledged for. We're not going with that. We're focused on the issues that are concerning in this nation. See, when you ran Barack Obama, let me explain something to you, former President-elect Barack Obama. When you ran for office in 2008, do you realize that was the first election where the internet really played a big part in the elections? First time ever. It was brand new. You won based off the internet marketing of social media. You were able to connect to the people with your message and slogans. Yes, we can. Yes, we can, St. Louis. Yes, we can. Change. That slogan was echoed all throughout social media. YouTube was 3 years old. It's 3 years old. And old politicians weren't accustomed to advertising and marketing through the internet. They didn't view that as a vehicle of winning elections until they lost in a landslide. Now, things have changed. Almost all the elections are done online. And they're connecting to the people. So you're going to have to reach black people like every other group the same way. You're going to have to talk to them about their issues and concerns. Okay? You can't, everybody black don't have the same problems. That's why you have focus groups. And all of these guys can come in, and women, and they can voice their concerns. Telling blacks a crime reform bill. I mean, you come to black people and start talking crime reform bills. All black people aren't criminals. All black people are not criminals. All black people are not looking at a crime reform bill as helping them because they don't go to jail. Okay? Talking about rights for the LGBTQ community, that's not a black community. That's for that group. Giving rights to the gays and things to the gays is good for the gays. I'm a black heterosexual male, non-gay. Those rights you gave them don't benefit me. And the majority of black men, majority of them are heterosexual. So those rules and those laws that you pass for them, that's good for them, but that don't apply to us. And when you start talking about doing something for the black community, why we're the only group that has to be grouped into a whole bunch of gumbo pot with everybody else. The Asians have their bill. Kamala Harris okayed $26 billion to bail out Indian American businesses. You know, her culture. How is that going to resonate over to the black community when they see her literally doing that? If you wanted to come out and give a speech, you should have came out and spoke to black men and say, hey, this is what Kamala Harris could do for us. This is the plan that we have in place. But you didn't do that. You came in and you condescended black men as if we weren't intelligent enough to look at issues and focus on issues that are concerning to us. Yet, we're putting a woman down. Wow. I would expect a white man to say something like that, but not a man who declares himself as a black man. To say that black men across the world, we're just putting a woman down because we're not convinced that she's the right candidate for us, and we're not convinced that we're going to come out and vote for her. So we're putting a woman down. We don't want to see a woman in the White House when a woman's already in the White House. And the reason this panic is, y'all, is because she doesn't have the 90% black vote that Biden had, and that's scary. She's at 78%. And that's very low. And scary for them. That could cost them the election. So now they're coming out and they're like, why is this not happening? So next week, guess what's happening? Oh, she's going to go on the Breakfast Club. She's going to talk to Charlemagne. She's going to talk to all these people who supposedly black people are going to gravitate to and vote. Here's the thing that you have to understand. We're not dumb. The same thing that the same rights, the same political views that other people share, we share too. We want better health care, better education for our children. We want better jobs. These are the things that matter to us. The same way it matters to Hispanics, the same way it matters to white people, the same way it matters to Indian people. We all want the same values. We want the same equal opportunities. But when you marginalize us saying that you're going to do something for the urban community, right? And just say that's, well, for the urban community or the minorities, and just say, then assume that's us. When you're looking into immigrants getting money while you literally have black men and black women and black families and those minority people that you talk about literally having their family members floating in water and their houses and all their materials floating down a river in Florida. At the same time, you're giving hundreds of millions of dollars, billions even, to Ukraine out of the country, but the most these people can get is $750. That's alarming. When she's the sitting vice president, and to have that natural disaster happen right now it put her in the crosshairs. It put her in the crosshairs of all America. So what do you think? Black men don't pay attention to things like that? Did you see mostly black people and minority people suffering from this, right along with white people suffering from this? A huge number of white women voted against Donald Trump and voted for Biden. Why didn't you speak to that group, especially when you addressed black men? Why aren't you looking at that group and saying we need to get those numbers up? Why is your focus only on the black men and trying to make it and do a panic alarm and use some marginalized BS that you came up with to try to guilt shame men into running out and voting for Kamala Harris instead of making it about the issues? It's always about something condescending, as we don't want to see a woman in a White House. And we're putting her down. It shouldn't even be a choice. How could you sit this out? Because I don't see a candidate that I feel has my views, or from what I've heard in debates, what I heard in everything, I don't see either candidate as being capable or rightfully should have the job. So that's why I, as a black man in Chicago, decide I'm sitting this one out. I don't want to vote for either one because I don't believe in either one. I don't see a candidate I want to vote for. There's more than just the presidential election on the list in the sheets. I'm not telling people don't go out and vote. I'm gonna go out and vote, but I'm gonna vote for these judges. I'm gonna look up their records. I'm gonna see who's locking up black men for no reason. I'm gonna go look at these judges, and when we go to election, we're gonna start voting for everything. All these offices, all these congressmen, all these legislative branches that you see, the executive branches, and you're looking at the executive branch only. There's other elections going on and other people getting into office. I'm paying attention to those things that are happening in my community, things that's going to affect me. The people who are, I'm not going to allocate money and keep somebody in there just because he's a Democrat. If he's not doing the job, if I don't think that person is doing the job well, they got to go. Now, here is the other scenario to the situation. Most black men, from what I've asked and talked to and spoke to in the city of Chicago, they don't trust Kamala Harris. She does not speak directly. When you speak to Kamala Harris, she's always speaking in circles. She can never answer anything directly. You ask her what she's going to do for black people, she talks in a circle. Every single time. She cannot be direct and just answer something simply. You can expand on it after you answer the question. She'll go into a story. You say, well, black people want to know, what do you want to do? What are you going to do for black people? Well, when I was a young girl, I came up in a town and boy, it was tough. And we had this and we had that. And you talk in a circle and you don't answer the questions. Most people think that's avoidance. And they look at it with disdain. Plus, in this internet, you have so much disinformation and misinformation that's going around. So people don't know what's real and what's not. And they need somebody when they speak to make it clear so they can know exactly where they stand. So the misinformation and the disinformation don't come in and cloud everything and make it confusing for the voter. See, Trump comes up under this WWE character. He actually was a WWE character. He wrestled he wasn't wrestling, but he was in WrestleMania with Vince McMahon doing his spots and everybody's Trump. he comes off as a WWE character, and he's basically doing the same skits and monologues he did when he was in WWE. He speaks direct. Whether it's true or false, he just speaks direct. But to me, he's like a cartoon character. You know, it's nothing you can take serious. If he gets in the White House, he's reactionary. You don't want someone who's reactionary in the White House. So this is why I choose not to vote for him. He's like a child. He reacts. Something doesn't go right. He doesn't have the temperament, I think, for the job. So I would definitely not vote for him based on those facts alone. Now, this whole next week is panic week for the Democrats and Kamala Harris's camp. All next week, they're going to be catering to try to do something for Black men without discussing anything about Black men. Now that they've pissed off Black men, they got to try to undo the damage that former President-elect Barack Obama has just done to the camp. Because what he thought was going to be a rush to action, a rush to the polls, turns out to be a disaster for him. And it's almost alienated them to say, how dare you? I'm not voting for you. And quoting some of my Black friends here in Chicago who are Black men saying that mixed biracial food, he ain't even Black. How the hell he gonna talk like that? So, you know, that's them. They were like, you got some nerve. You mixed. How you talking about Black men? So you wasn't Black until 2008. That's how they looked at it. So that's them. So like I said, all Black men don't think the same. Most people are not talking about no crime reform bill. Crime reform bill is for criminals. That doesn't mean Black people. Okay? So don't dangle no crime reform bill in my face. We want economic stimulus packages. We want to have more programs in place for small Black American businesses. Where's our bailout packages for our small Black businesses? They're almost non-existent. We have no support structure. Why we don't? Why our educational system in minority territories are just being eviscerated. We have empty schools because you shut down the school system and force these kids to go miles and miles in overcrowded schools. And you use those schools to house migrants that you're bringing into this country. This thing is very alarming, especially here in the city of Chicago. You're going to lose a lot of support of the Black vote when all of these activities that are going around the world is happening. Black men, especially, are seeing this. And you think we're just doing it because she's a woman? Former President-elect Barack Obama, you're smarter than this. And for you to use a marginalized tactic like that, to stoop that low, to say we putting a woman down, it's bigger than that. Black men are not sure they even want to vote Democratic. That's how big it is because of the actions that have happened under your regime. That's how big it is. They don't trust you. Meaning the party, not just Kamala Harris, the party. Black men are not sure they trust you anymore. Now, while you get paid, a big fee just to do speeches now, You know, who knows what y'all got paid for the DNC convention? Y'all know how to throw a party. I'll give you that. Y'all do know how to put stuff together. But when you don't talk about the issues to the people, you guys are going to have to change your tactics. You're going to have to modernize with the times. No more this, we're Democrat, we got your vote. Because we're Democrats, so we got the blacks. No, blacks are seeing what's happening around the world. And with the internet, it's only going to be worse. So you got to figure out where you're going to be in this situation. Oh, yeah, definitely hit the like button for this video. See, they're not going to push this video. We know that. So I get to talk to you guys direct. I'm just sick of it because you marginalize everything about us and make us sound simple. If we're simple enough to say we're not voting for somebody because she's a woman and we putting a woman down and we're just all black men that's not voting, it's misogynistic. And we just like, oh, we just don't want to vote her. I don't know a single person who ever spoke about her being a woman in the White House. I've heard that only from white men. She shouldn't be in the White House. I don't know why they let the women in there. What's wrong with First Lady? Now, what the husband's going to be? What, first man? That sounds ridiculous. That's white people. It's never been us. And most black men in the household, they'll tell you, anybody in here and any black women that are in here, in this chat, if anybody in a relationship, they married and they black, whatever you voting for, your man voting for. That is the norm with black people. When black women vote for, the majority black men vote for right with them. And guess what? In white households, whatever the husband's voting for or the wife is voting for, the husband, he votes right along with it. In Hispanic households, you know what happens? Same thing. Indian households. So whatever the household decides to do, they normally vote the same. Especially when they're same race. Now, mixed race families could be different. Why? Because the polls have already shown that. The statistics show. They looked at the demographic charts. They seen how many white voters, female voters, white women voted for Biden. And those numbers are down for Kamala Harris. And instead of Barack Obama doing a speech for them, come on, white women, you want this guy here to put you down? He'd rather have you on a stripper pole or somewhere on the golf course doing stuff in the golf room. This guy said, grab you by the peas. You want to be marginalized as that? Oh, no. Like I said, we keeping this PG because, you know, he got a body count. Obama got a body count. I ain't trying to get on that list, but we're going to keep this PG. Now, on my Patreon, you know, it's already over there. You know, it's just a coincidence that, his gay black chef is dead. It's just a coincidence that his gay black aide and her lesbian lover both died in a car accident. Just coincidence. So we're just gonna chalk that up as, a case of the Mondays. Now, that's all information already on the Patreon. So they know what it is, but we're going to keep this about the topics. All right, we're gonna keep this all about the topics. We're not going in on him at all. I've seen black people turn against Kwame Brown, saying that, hey, man, he pushing a narrative, promoting Trump and all this. He's promoting what he, like, T was really on his head. But my thing is, you can vote for whoever you want. Whoever you feel is right for you, vote for. But black men are not, they're tired. They're tired of seeing y'all play in their face. Y'all keep saying, hey, we doing this, vote for us, the Democrats, but y'all keep playing in their face and taking their vote for granted. And when you start bringing in migrants into the country and you're giving migrants money, but yet you won't help them out. We got homeless here, people who can't get jobs. You make it like blacks don't want to work. They're living in opportunities living in areas where there's no opportunities around them for employment. They got to get on a train, another train, and take 2 buses just to get to work. Imagine if you had to take 2 hours to get to your job. Then when you get off work, you gotta, to go out and get the jobs that are good, those buses run on a schedule. And if you miss those schedules, the last bus run at a certain time. Now, what happens if you get off work at a certain time? Now somebody got to give you a ride to the train station. That work at the job that might have a car. Now you got to get on that train and bus late at night, taking 2 trains, 2 more buses, just to get to a job because there's no opportunities in your area. But when you live in a flourishing neighborhood, you get to see the difference in a flourishing neighborhood where we have code, every area in every 4 corners of my neighborhood I live in right now. There's a educational STEM class, STEM program. You have recreation centers. You have basketball. You have racquetball. You have an arcade just for kids to go and do recreation, because when you don't have recreation, and you don't have any of these things around you where people could socially gather and meet each other, then they probably wouldn't even be enemies of each other from different neighborhoods. These guys fighting each other from different neighborhoods because they don't have recreation. They don't have a meeting ground. So you have people that try to use their own resources to do things, activities, so that these kids can meet. And here in Chicago, we've always been a part of that. The Nate Jones Foundation. We've helped prisoners come home and find jobs when the government don't care about them, even though they're saying we're trying to reform them. And then you have people who go to college, spend 30, 40,000 on college and got all of these college fees, and they come home and can't find a job for what they majored in and got a degree in. It take them 4 years to find a job that line up for what they went to college for. But we can't talk about things that's tangible. When we do that, we're putting a woman down. We speak up and say what's wrong about us. Oh no, we just don't want to see a woman in the White House. So what side do you think that somebody's going to go for? Are you going to go for a side that's keep condescending you every time you bring up an issue? Or are you going to go to the side that wants to listen to you and willing to hear you out? They might not do anything, but they're willing to hear you out. Trump came and said that he was going to put together a package for black people. We never heard that come from Kamala Harris. Yeah, I don't believe Trump at all, but he spoke directly. So your approach to black men needs to change because you're not responding to what's happening in the world. You're still trying to dance around 2008 and 2012 and just like we got the black vote because we threw a party and Trump is bad. Trump is divisive. He's a bad man. So we just got to vote for Kamala because he's bad. But nothing's going to happen for you with it. You're not going to get anything out of the deal for your vote. Hell, they threw Diddy in jail because he wanted to create a black party. He created our black party. And saying, oh, we're not Democrat or Republican. You're going to have to earn our vote. Oh, they didn't like that. And these people was his friends. Now, all these crimes in Miami and California, right? Miami and California. Where are their cases? Why did Miami? The raid happened in Miami and California. So no raid happened in New York. Why does New York have the case? Because they know that's their stronghold, their system, their team. Listen, there's a lot of red flags in that case. If there were co-conspirators on there, it would even list that in the reports. Now, they still, yet to this day, haven't added any new victims to the case. They haven't added anything other than, while they're still reviewing, they still haven't added another victim, another co-conspirator, anything. Even if you were trying to protect the person, you would say co-complicit with this person or co-conspirator one. You could still extract their name out of the scenario. So they're doing it because certain people that were there are friends with the system. So they want to protect them and making this so big but it's only one person that's being tried. It's not passing the smell test. And for people not to see that, the judicial system is messed up. And what they're doing to him, you have to look at and go into the past to see what were the events that was happening around him. And once Diddy started talking about political and how we don't have any power and economically in the next 30 years, we're going to be extinct in black business. Black businesses are going to be extinct if we don't make a stand now. When you start making statements like that, and you're not just talking about popping bottles and champagne, you're going to wake a lot of people. He said that should be investigated. Of course. They're mad at anybody that's not going to toe the line. This video is going to make somebody mad. Now they're going to be on my head. They've been texting my phone and I ain't even giving them my numbers. Like, hey, we got to beat Donald Trump. Come on out. Let's vote. They wanted me to donate money. You know, I don't even know how I guess they look at how much you earn and they see if you're a black man and they just, oh, okay, let's reach out to them and see where he's going. And it was like, hey, we got to defeat evil. We got to get out and vote. And I'm like, I'm not voting for that woman. So maybe, yeah, he was talking to me. I'm sitting this one out. You sitting this one out? Yeah, I'm sitting this one out. I'm not voting for either candidate, but I'm gonna vote for the other part, for the other people on that list. Yeah, Puffy was prominent in the Democratic Party. He was vote or die and all that. It failed, but he made a lot of money being on the campaign trail. It was rock the vote, vote or die. Then he campaigned for Joe Biden with our Black Party. We got to get Trump out of the office. Oh, they loved him then. That was just 4 years ago. But he didn't back Kamala Harris. He's saying, well, we want to see what's for the vote. Next thing you know, our Black Party wiped out. Doesn't exist anymore. So that's alarming that we don't have a Black support group like every other race and nationality. The Asian community have theirs. The Indian community have their own groups. We don't have a Black hate crime bill. But the Asians, they have like a bad weekend. And then next thing you know, they have Asian hate crime bill. And it was like, wait a minute. How did this happen? And they just got their money all in one weekend. Like, that was pretty interesting. Right. And that just right there, right after we were the deciding votes to get Biden into office, he got over 90% of the Black vote. Well, they don't understand that there are many different factors that come into play. Well, you don't understand that there's so much that people just don't get. No, because as the people would say, he said, at this point, we're fighting as citizens. Exactly. With the lack of resources we have, you're seeing people, parents, I'm one person, but if you're a parent, you got two children. Right, right. You got kids, and no, because if you got children and you have to buy eggs, milk, you have to use all of these tactics. Mm-mm. Exactly. Kamala Harris had Megan Thee Stallion twerking to get black votes. One thing her campaign, one thing her and Megan Thee Stallion have in common is sending innocent black men to jail. Well, now I don't agree with that, Nick T. Ain't nothing innocent about Tory Lane. He's an idiot. Well, you have to make sure, you have to make sure of certain qualities or certain things that are not yet abundant. You have to, right, you have to make sure, right, you have to make sure that you're doing what's best for you. What plan do you have in place? The plan that she's talking about, that they are preaching that they're going to do, would raise some of the housing market. Okay, well, not a lot of black people own homes. And saying that we're going to give you money, it's like, yeah, okay, you'll give people money in this housing market, but here's the main problem that you're going to be faced with. Mm-hmm. Right. First generational homeowners. Right. So if you've never owned a home before, they're going to help you out there. But here's where the cost is going up. You're going to be spending most of that money on taxes. If you're spending majority of your time on taxes and right, home property tax, money gone. Well, the housing market, what they're going to do to try to reduce that is most of these people, they have to follow a code, meaning that they have to follow the building regiments and use the certain materials that are, predominantly the law. And those materials are expensive. So to cut costs, they're going to waive some of those to use cheaper material to make houses, which is going to cause a lot of insurance to go up because they know in about 2 or 3 years that stuff is going to start to tear down, and that because you're using cheaper material. Mm-hmm. Home Depot for Kamala. No, we never saw people gravitate to. We never saw people gravitate to the levels of where they should be. Like when you see a black politician, they're normally not doing what's best for us as a people. They're doing what's best to line their pockets because we haven't seen it in our community. Some have, that they come in and they try to really build their communities. But once they go higher up in the office, it's like they're either handcuffed or they become part of the system and they don't end up doing anything. We saw that with the mayor of Chicago. They hired this new black mayor there, and he's just a puppet. And he's just watching all of this stuff go down. And it's bigger than him with these immigrants just coming into the city. He can't stop it. There's nothing he could do about it. But you see how powerless he is when it's him there. Then when Daley was here, Daley was mobbed up. He had the cops. He had everything under his thumb. This guy here, he don't seem like he had the police. He don't have anybody. He's just there to speak to keep brothers calm. Well, he ain't gonna sit it out when he's been paid to do what he's doing. No, people really don't. They don't grasp the true inclination on what's out there, what's not out there. And how the political system truly works. They really target a certain group that they want, a special interest group. Now, we saw the gays get a lot of benefits because they were very huge in organizing and helping Barack Obama get into office. They had a very huge turnout for the inclusiveness. Like they have a very huge turnout in this election that's coming out for Kamala Harris. You know, she's, spending money allegedly on transgender operations in prison. Now, whether that's true or not, I didn't even investigate that because, once again, that has no concern to me. I want to know what you're going to do for Black men, Black women, people of our color who have been completely marginalized and put way under the or you want to say the killing zones or the red line. We've been redlined. And it's like, it's harder for you to succeed when you have all of these disadvantages against you. We need to be safe as people, period. That's the key. We need to be safe as people. Because sometimes our voices are not being heard, period. And because of the internet and this new era of communication in the form in which we do it, there's no better way. There's no better way to communicate. Like I said, they're not going to push this video a lot because they're assessing how many people have done certain things on the internet and they're going to classify it as misinformation, disinformation. They'll do anything they can to try to make sure the people don't hear it because their voice is the only thing you want to hear. But when they're not saying anything, then you start to see the results. So if Barack Obama was honest, former President-elect Barack Obama, if he was honest with dying self, he would understand clearly what a problem is. And here is the problem that we have. In our country, right? Oh, no. In our country, let's say we start a job and we run into a hard time due to the economy or natural disasters, where is our relief dedicated to preserving our businesses? Indian Americans, we get this notion that they are well organized and all of their businesses are protected. It's protected by the federal government. The federal government goes out their way that even if their businesses are starting to fail, they get bailouts. They must provide something to the source. Kamala Harris, who says she's identified as Black, we see her completely different than everything else. Mm-hmm. She identified as being Black, but yet and still, she donates money and help allocates money to bail out Asian Indian American businesses, over $26 billion. I didn't know their businesses were struggling that much that they would need a collective amount of 26 billion. How much of that money did you send to HBCUs? How much of that money did you send to Black, small Black business owners? What did they get from you, Kamala Harris? So Black men across the United States of America are showing that they're just not going to be automatically voting Democrat anymore. And because of the internet now, you can't market and campaign like 2008 when this was that was the first election where the internet played a huge outcome, in the election. It's a lot different now in 2024. I know it seemed like yesterday. 2008 and 2024 is a long time. So imagine how much the internet has advanced since then. As I told you, YouTube was 3 years of age. We do have bargaining chips. We have the biggest bargaining chip there is. We have the numbers. We decide the elections. You see, we're the sleeping giant. And when you understand that you're the sleeping giant that can weigh the outcome of elections, they try to make it seem like your vote don't matter. You're powerless. They used to try to get us not to vote because we sway elections. So they was like, yeah, y'all just stay asleep. But in 96, we woke up and started voting. We started putting people on the political ticket. We started electing people that we want here in Chicago. This is why they got mad and started trumping up charges against Larry Hoover, because they had a plan. The Gangster Disciples, the GDs, were supporting people in their community that they wanted to have elect and run for office. They had the numbers, and they said, all the GDs, we're going to go out and vote for them. And then here comes somebody out of the blue winning office. And this is how Dolores Tucker kept winning the elections. And in return, she would do favors for them. One of the guys get locked up or something, she go in there and do what she can politically to help them out. Colorado defense is terrible. I didn't bet on Colorado. I bet Kansas State. No, they're replacing our vote to get more votes in swing states that they, like Arizona, they want to get them in Arizona. Arizona is starting to turn blue. You're getting a lot of states that used to be completely red going blue. And they want to get more voters in here. Our numbers aren't growing. This is a lie. It's not about our numbers aren't growing, and the Hispanics and all of, they know the Hispanics are going to go one or two different ways, but they're not concerned about them. They're not going to tip the scales. The vote that tips the scales is where the black vote goes. If you got a large number of black voters, especially in the 90%, that sways the election. Biden won because he had 90% of the black vote. Right now, Kamala Harris has 78%, grossly lower than they could ever imagine for the black vote. And she doesn't understand why. And I told you, watch this week coming up. She's going to be on the Breakfast Club. She finna start doing all her black stuff this week now. She's in panic mode. It's less than a month before they hit the polls. So they finna go through, they finna hit the panic button all this week and start going all pro-black. She might come out there with a damn dashiki on. Yes, she never had a good rapport with black people. You know, she let a black man who was innocent stay in jail all these years because it was going to make them look bad. Knowing that this man was innocent, they suppressed evidence until the right time, and the man was wrongfully accused. You know, people don't forget that. Oh, Bibble won the fight. It's either a draw or Bibble wins 115, 113. I think I had it 116, 112 for Bibble, but I could see it being 115 for 112. Beterbiev got the last two rounds. I gave him 11 and 12. 10 I gave to Bibble. I think round 8 I gave to Bibble. It was a close fight. Close fight. Like a lot of the rounds, it depends on what you wanted to see. The clear punching, the more accurate punching was done by Bibble. More telling shots does come forward aggression was better be, and it's just the style of the fight. But there's no way I see a 116, 112 for better beef over Bivol. No. That was politics. What's up, 78? I see you, brother. Obama said she grew up like us. It don't matter if she grew up with us. My boy grew up with me. We went to the same school. We kicked it and everything. Do I think he should be president of the United States of America? Hell no. I ain't vote for that nigga. You see, that's how they marginalize us. And like, we can't look at the issues, or we can't look at what's concerning us. We can't have anything tangible for us. If we talk about that, we're condescendingly against a woman being in the White House. I'm like, we got plenty of people that we know. No, they're what you would call emotional terrorists. That's what they love to run. They want to play those chords, the emotional chords, to get you to react to something emotionally. Oh no, the Sheik had big money on Better Beef. So if you saw the Better Beef fight, you already know what time it was. The Sheik had money on him. All them people in there, the Allah Akbar, them people were going for Better Beef. I ain't never seen the Sheik stand up like that. That fight was coming down to the wire. He was like on his feet, like they had big money on doggone Better Beef. So now it's gonna be bigger money when they do the rematch. I don't speak for black men. Absolutely not. I do not speak for black men. I speak for a black man right here. This black man from the city of Chicago. I speak for me. He said, and the Dems are talking about issues. Again, you're supporting Trump talking points for months. You're a closet Trump supporter. No, I'm not. When have you seen me support Trump plans for anything? What talking points? You just heard us do this whole thing for over an hour. What did I tell you about Trump? The guy's reactionary, impulsive, don't have the temperament to be president of the United States of America. I would never vote for him. So what the hell are you talking about? You see, once again, not identifying with the problem. I don't speak for all black men, but black men have been speaking up, and a lot of them are saying what I'm saying. So Richard Allen, you believe with former President-elect Barack Obama that black men are not voting or sitting this one out because they don't want to see a woman in the White House. They putting the black woman down. What's undisputed? You mean, what is that? The Shannon Sharp show? Is it back? I've been listening to you for sports and rap news. You should stick with that because your opinions are issues. What are my opinions? I gave facts. It's a fact that you should not marginalize something. Barack Obama gave an opinion. He gave an opinion on why he thinks black men are not voting for Kamala Harris. He, without any research, any study, any poll charts, or nothing, he just goes off his mind and says, I think you don't want to see a woman in the White House. That was him. So you want to talk about opinions? Former President-elect Barack Obama just made an opinion about black men. So if you are a black man, Richard Allen, you answer the question. Are you making your decision based on her being a woman? Samuel McFadden, what was a good point that he made? Please have the conversation. Let's have that conversation. What was the good point that he made? Because he didn't make a point. He made an opinion. He stated it as if it was fact, and it was an opinion on his own thoughts. It's a lot of people out here that's voting for Trump, and there's a lot of people out here voting for Kamala Harris. I'm surrounded by all of them. They're all in one gumbo pot here. It's no real like one side or the other. It's a mixture. At the restaurants, you're not even allowed to talk politics. She did an expose and proved that she's not a black woman. Well, we all know that. That's not, but see, her ethnicity does not matter to me. The fact that she would lie about it, that's alarming because you're lying to yourself. And another thing is that the reason why I don't care about it is you could be green, red, or blue. What are you going to do for us? You want our vote. What are we getting out of the bag? Everybody else is getting theirs. When we getting ours? So her ethnicity don't even matter. Yep, black vote can swing an election. Kamala will hit the circuit to get votes, and Trump will continue to court votes by saying that he is going to protect black jobs, but not how. Okay, that's fine. You're a Kamala Harris supporter. That's cool. Nobody's knocking you for that. She will hit the circuit to get votes. Okay, that's good. That's good for her. But what are we getting out of it? What are the blacks getting for their votes? What is she going to do? And if she starts talking crime reform bill, I'm not a criminal. So what do I care about a crime reform bill? Not all blacks are criminals. Well, have you noticed he didn't show back up? Samuel said Obama made a good point and disappeared. We told him to expand. He didn't show up and say another word. Okay, well, he did. Take that back. They said Trump was in office for 4 years, so we know what he is and likely will seek to do. Harris is lying about what she will do and won't change anything because she has a major hand in how things is now. That's how a lot of people feel. Will you vote for Denzel Washington if he runs in 2028? I would have to know what Denzel Washington is bringing to the table. What is his, what is he running on? Is he just running because he's Denzel Washington? That's like me voting for Kanye West. We're past the stupidity phase. Some black men have issues with women in general leading. I've heard this at a barbershop and elsewhere. It's always some weird excuse. No one's saying that doesn't exist. Some men, and it's not black men, men have a problem with women leading. It is most known through white communities. White communities have a problem with women leading. White men for years did not want their wives to work or do anything but stay in the house. So that was the way it was. It was a white man's world. White mans go out to do this. You was the home wife. That's what they wanted to do, to control the narrative. Now, white men don't want Kamala Harris in there because she's a woman. I've heard that a lot by white men. Black men in barbershops, maybe a few, but the majority of them, they don't really care one way or another because she's already in the damn White House. So what's the point? She's already in the White House. If they cared about her being in the White House, they wouldn't have voted for Biden, 90% of them, when he ran up against Trump. They knew it was going to be putting her in the White House. It's just the fact of her. She's not a person that people trust. She's losing the trust of black people because she's not speaking to them. She's not speaking to black people. She's speaking on the issue of Trump is a bad man. Trump is evil. Trump is this. Trump is that. This man said he's got this and black jobs and this and that. Both guys are terrible. Both people, both candidates should not be, none of them are qualified to be president of the United States. Trump needs to be president because if he doesn't win the presidency, he's going to jail. And he doesn't want that at all. Oh yeah, they're gonna corner the market with the immigrants. That's why the Republicans want to close that off. They want to stop all this because they see what's happening, and by getting the immigrants to register as citizens and being able to vote, that's gonna sway the vote in their favor. Trump has done a lot to alienate a lot of groups, the Haitian groups. Like there's Haitian Americans here. He just alienated them. And a lot of them are integrated in black culture anyway here in America. So, they date black men, black women. So what do you think is going to happen there? With the Haitians, you got the Polish people who, when you saying you're backing Russia, and Russia's talking about, invading Poland, if they win the war, because Poland has been supporting Ukraine. Now the Polish American people here, it's a lot of them, they're going to be feeling a certain way about that. And they're not going to want to vote for Trump. So there's a lot of parties that Barack Obama needed to be speaking on and honing in on that rather than trying to target black men. Like I told y'all before, the polls show white women voted against Trump and for Biden when he ran the last election. And those numbers are down when it comes to Kamala Harris. Why white women now are voting for Kamala Harris? Why aren't you speaking on that? That was a huge turnout for Biden to have a lot of white women vote for him and against Trump. So now in this election, they're not doing that. So those numbers are down. I don't see you saying white women. Like, where are you at with the white women? You see, you can't just target one group and then make a generalization about them off a stereotype. Trump offers you nothing but shit. One person is at the very least offering you life-changing policy. No, Trump offered a plan for blacks, an actual package plan dedicated to helping black businesses and everything, millions of dollars. Can you hundreds of millions of dollars in this plan that he wants to put together for the package for blacks. First time a candidate has ever said that ever. Trump said it for this election. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but I know he said it because I saw him when he said it. Kamala Harris is not going to say that. She just said, I'm going to do something for the minority community. Right? And they seem to throw the gays and all of that. That's doing something for us. Well, a lot of the black men got out of the we just gonna vote because you're black thing a long time ago. Richard Allen saying Barack is entitled to his opinion, right? But here's the thing: when you are a celebrity, your opinion can be used as misinformation or disinformation. So your opinions have to be guarded, especially as a politician. Opinions and facts is something that they want to stay away from, especially when you're dealing with somebody like Trump who deals in theory. Like I told you, he talks like a WWE character, like he did when he was in WWE, promoting WrestleMania. It's the same guy. He talks in extreme details, but he's direct. He's going to speak to you directly, and people can relate to it. He knows how to talk to an audience, a crowd, and get them all revved up. So he's going to have his people vote for him, but smart people vote on the issues that are concerning them. They want to know about their taxes, what's going to happen with their businesses. People who have things going on more than just a W-2, they got some concerns about health care. What do you do that? Trump has no plan for health care. He didn't have one the first time. He's still running off the Obama care. Now they don't call it Obamacare no more. It's the Affordable Health Act. But it's the same plan. So I voted for Barack Obama not because Barack was black. I voted for him because he was the best qualified person for the job. Look what he ran against. Well, he ran the first time against John McCain. John McCain had a complete nitwit as his running partner, and she doomed the campaign. Sarah Palin became the joke of all jokes. And they were like, out of all the people you could have chosen, you get this woman from Alaska. And that wasn't his call. That was the political party saying, we need to get the woman vote, and this is going to do it to help us go up against the black vote. And no woman was voting for her. Like she was so out of her element. It's like, go back to Alaska and no one knows or cares what's happening in Alaska, y'all. You deal with Alaska stuff. That's why you way over there. Don't come into talk about we finna be the vice president of America. Oh yeah, Sarah Palin was just trying to be Sarah Palin, trying to do stuff that's going on, and she's trying to cover up her daughter had the baby, saying this was our baby. It was complete mess. It was a complete mess. Then he went up against Mitt Romney. Oh my God. Billionaire tax cheat Mitt Romney. A guy who pledged Mormon so he didn't have to pay taxes because of his religion. And it was totally nuts. Back then, they changed that law then, but back then it was protecting him and saving him millions of dollars. This guy was caught making a deal under the table during the election, just completely, and it was a whole sting operation, set him up just so they could show the world what Mitt Romney was. Mitt Romney was never fit to be president. He's too much of a crooked businessman. So, of course, you're going to vote for Obama. Who else? He's the best candidate for the job. Last person we had to have the job that was capable. But now, listening to him now, he sounds like a buffoon making that statement he made. I don't tell people who to vote for. Have you sat here, if you listened to me for this past hour, have I told you to vote Democrat or vote Republican? No. Did I sit here and praise Trump? No. Did I sit here and praise Kamala Harris? Hell no. The Republicans want to stock the courts right under your nose without offering you in. Here's the thing about Republicans. They don't care about poor people. That is absolutely true. The Republican Party has never been beneficial to poor people. They only care about protecting the rich. The Democrats, and this is what you need to understand about the Democrats, they market to the poor people to protect the upper middle class and the rich. So here it is, conservatives and liberals, right? Conservatives are in denial. Liberals are delusional. That's it. That's your difference between the two parties. They're the same. Liberals, Democrats, delusional. Republicans, conservatives, in denial. A conservative Republican will look you right in your face. A Republican right next door to him could be sleeping with the secretary, stole money from this and that. And they be like, well, what do you think about Johnson? Republican Johnson from Arizona. He just got caught with the woman and that. Well, we got to wait till the facts come out. I mean, what about Bill Clinton? A total denial of what is happening right in front of them. They can have it on videotape. Like, we got it in 4K. He's looking at the camera. This could be you. I mean, I'm embarrassed for him. I feel for his family, but right now we should think about his family. We should not be making fun or light of that. But what about Bill Clinton and the Democratic Party? They've been doing this stuff for years. You guys have never said a word. Total denial. Democrats, completely delusional. We're going to end world hunger. We're going to get new jobs. We're going to get everybody a job. You want a job? You're going to get a job. We're going to get new money. We're going to build these houses, and it's going to be all beautiful. And we're going to, well, how the hell are you going to do that? How you going to do that? So as you can see, as I tell you, if election is your protection, are you ready to die? That's it. So vote at your own discretion. I told you how I am voting. I'm not voting for the president of the United States of America in 2024. I'm leaving that vacant. Matter of fact, if they got anybody on the ballot besides these two people, I will give them my vote. If Cornel West is still on that ballot, I'm voting for him. Hell, I might give it to RFK. But since he joined Trump, he just lost his brains. Anybody getting the vote, I'll vote for a damn dog over them. These two people are not. I'm voting for the other offices. I'm voting for Congress. I'm voting for these judges. I'm getting these judges out of here that's sending it, that's giving people these doggone log sentences. Those are the elections you need to look at. Look at that ballot. Look up those judges. That's what I want y'all to do. If you want to do anything, if I'm advising everybody, look at the judges in your town. They all up for these elections. They get elected in there. Look at these judges. Look at their record and look at what they've done in the Black community as far as the people in your community, as far as putting people in jail, letting people off, slamming people with time. Look at these judges. So when y'all complain about the judge, y'all vote these people in and out of office. Start thinking about that. Start looking at them politicians in your community and say, okay, this person that ain't doing this job, he ain't do this. Man, we still ain't got this done. The neighborhood's a mess. It's looking raggedy. It's time. So you can vote either Republican or Democrat, no matter what it is. I'm not saying vote one party because one person's view might be different from another person's view. Vote who's best for you. Not here to sway a person's vote. I'm here to tell you how I feel and my thoughts about it and where I'm going with it. Now, you might agree. That's great. So I'm just saying, when you vote, look at the entire ballot. It's not just you vote for president of the United States of America. It's bigger than that. The executive branch is only one branch, 3 branches. But you're going to have to you should make sure you research what you're all voting for. Look and see what's all on the ballot. All right. Thank y'all, man, for y'all time. I appreciate it. Shouts out to Kwame Brown Bus Life, Ticket TV, Dreamers Pro, 78 Sports TV, who came up here. Man, appreciate all y'all, man. Appreciate it. Even Richard Allen, who came up here. Appreciate you coming up here. We don't really talk politics on this channel. We do it on One Crack News. So make sure you follow One Crack News as well. I had Bivol winning the fight, but I wouldn't say it was a robbery. It was a close fight. Oh, you talking about the boxing game Undisputed. Okay. I might get it. I don't know. I'm still playing Hogwarts for 2 years straight. I love playing that game. But anyway, man, I'm out. Vote for Pedro. You better off voting for Pedro in this election. Hell, I would vote for Pedro right now over these two. I'm out.